Imagine a massive steel-hulled freighter cruising through calm waters. Without warning, radio contact drops, and the ship is swallowed whole. When Coast Guards and naval fleets rush to the last known coordinates, they find nothing. No life rafts, no floating seat cushions, no oil slicks, and no bodies. A multi-ton vessel has simply vanished into thin air. These disappearances continue to occur despite the presence of advanced radar, satellite tracking, and real-time communication. Modern flights and military aircraft go missing just as frequently as wooden galleons of the past. This specific patch of the Western Atlantic has claimed over 100 planes and ships and more than 1,000 lives since 1945 alone. It is known as the Bermuda Triangle, and what happens inside it challenges our basic understanding of the physical world. The northern apex of this zone is anchored at the island of Bermuda. From there, the boundary line drops southwest to Miami, Florida, and cuts east past the Bahamas down to San Juan, Puerto Rico. Official meteorological records often stretch this area outward to encompass 75 degrees west longitude, a geographic coordinate measuring distance west of the prime meridian, and extending out to 40 degrees west before hooking back up to Bermuda. This photo of the Florida coast shows the reality of the location. The triangle sits immediately off the southeastern United States, cutting through heavily traveled shipping lanes and a major tourist corridor. Every day, countless cruise ships and passenger jets pass through this space without incident. That normalcy is exactly what makes the sudden, traceless disappearances so difficult to explain. These are TBM Avengers, the type of aircraft involved in the event that gave the triangle its name. On the afternoon of December 5, 1945, a group of 5 Navy bombers took off from Fort Lauderdale for a routine training mission known as Flight 19. About an hour into the flight, the control tower received a highly unusual transmission. The flight leader reported that they were entirely off course and could not see land. He stated that both of his compasses were spinning wildly, the sky had turned a hazy yellow on a clear day, and the ocean itself didn't look right. This is a Martin Mariner PBM, the massive rescue plane dispatched immediately after Flight 19 lost contact. Shortly after reporting high winds at 6,000 feet, this plane and its crew of 13 also went completely silent. By the next morning, an armada of 240 planes, 4 destroyers, several submarines, and 18 Coast Guard vessels scoured 380,000 square miles of the Atlantic and the Gulf of Mexico. They found 0 wreckage.
An official Naval Board of Inquiry examined the evidence and concluded they could not make even a good guess as to what happened. One officer noted they vanished as completely as if they had flown through a hole in the sky. This is the USS Cyclops, a 19,000-ton naval collier. In March 1918, this massive vessel and its 309 passengers vanished without a single distress call, proving that even the largest ships are vulnerable. Decades later, the Marine Sulphur Queen, a 425-foot steel freighter carrying molten sulfur, met the exact same fate. No SOS, no flares, no wreckage. Even stranger are the vessels that don't sink. Searchers frequently discover ghost ships drifting aimlessly through the Sargasso Sea.
These boats are found in perfect condition, fully stocked with food and water, but completely devoid of their human crews. When boarding these abandoned vessels, rescuers often find the crew's pets, dogs, cats, and canaries, alive and well. Yet there is a strangely consistent detail in naval records. Whenever a talking parrot is on board, it vanishes along with the humans. The pattern of leaving the ship intact while removing the crew suggests a force more selective than a typical maritime storm. This is Charles Berlitz, an investigator who spent years tracking these anomalies and interviewing survivors who managed to escape the triangle to document their accounts. Several scientific theories exist to explain these events. Sudden sea waves, waves caused by underwater landslides or atmospheric pressure, could flip a ship instantly. Others point to electromagnetic vortices, where warm and cold currents collide, creating localized magnetic fields that scramble navigational instruments. Because of the bizarre radio transmissions and the selective removal of crews, some investigators suspect extraterrestrial intervention. They argue that UFOs monitor Earth's technological stage from the deep waters of the Western Atlantic. A different theory stems from the work of Edgar Cayce, who claimed that the ruins of the lost civilization of Atlantis rested beneath the Bahamas, powered by massive crystals. These geometric building complexes found near Bimini provide physical evidence for some who believe ancient power sources still rest on the ocean floor. The theory suggests these mile-deep crystals periodically trigger magnetic pulses that disable modern electronics. While many of these cases overlap with high traffic volume and human error, the recurring pattern of instrument failure and traceless disappearances continues to fuel the debate between known science and the unexplained. We tend to look up at the stars for the unknown, but the abyssal plains and deep-sea trenches of our own oceans are less mapped than the surface of the moon. This is the coelacanth, a fish that biologists believed went extinct 60 million years ago until a live specimen was pulled from the Indian Ocean in 1938. It is proof that the deep ocean reserves incredible surprises. Sonar operators routinely detect false bottoms, where the ocean floor appears thousands of feet shallower than it should, only to vanish minutes later. Even Christopher Columbus documented bizarre, glowing streaks of white water churning in the Gulf Stream. There are massive migrations we still don't understand. Eels from America and Europe travel thousands of miles to spawn in the exact same deep-water intersection of the Sargasso Sea, while spiny lobsters march in straight lines down the continental slope to unknown destinations on the abyssal plain. Finding the cause of these disappearances might reveal more about the hidden history of our planet than anything we find in deep space. To this day, the Coast Guard continues to file search discontinued reports. They scour the water, they run the flight paths, and they sign off with the exact same phrase: results negative. For every single vessel that returns safely, there is another that hits a silent pocket of air or a strange patch of water and quietly joins the records of the missing. The Bermuda Triangle remains a geographic anomaly, a place that never returns what it takes.